Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lungleng Show. Today we have a person by the name Mr. Imlisangam Jamir, and he is from Mogokchung, and he is currently working for alcoholics, and he's engaging with alcoholics and substance abuse people. So what he does is he works with the church, and the church has a recovery program. So he involves with the church and works for alcoholics and substance abuse people. I think that's a very creative and innovative way of looking at working for people as a church in terms of serving people, which is something very new to our society, I believe. And Mr. Imli Sangam himself is a recovering addict, recovering alcoholic, and since 1995. Which is like more than, almost 30 years ago. So it's wonderful to have him, and because I want to understand better about alcoholism and how our society is responding to it, and how our society is responding to people who are struggling with alcoholism. I think it's a subject we hardly talk about. So, and as a person who has been giving a freelance counseling to people and working with the church for alcohol, from people suffering from alcoholism, it's going to be very interesting to hear from him what he thinks and what are the problems and issues and challenges that we society face in dealing with this issue. Thank you so much, Mr. Imlisangam Jamir, for joining in this conversation. You coming all the way from Mokchung for a conversation like this. I really appreciate you for this.
Thank you, Mr. Lungleng, for having me in your show. Mm-hmm. And it's a pleasure. And I was actually anticipating, and I was very excited when you invited me for this show, because I feel it is high time that people come to know about the disease of addiction.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for your kind information, you can use half name. Sangam also will do.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that.
So as as I have said before, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict, and it's a very long story.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we jump into your story,
yes,
you don't mind me referring you as recovering alcoholic, and you don't mind, introducing yourself as in public programs, and because you're working for people who have these problems. So I know I want to jump into this directly. What do you think when you are being addressed as a recovering alcoholic?
Actually, I don't mind being referred to as recovering alcoholic, because what I'm doing is trying to pass on the message to our Nagas, those who are suffering, that there's a way out of this addiction. Because we are such a society that we try to hide the addiction. And actually, because of the social stigma, initially I was slightly apprehensive. But when I shared with my family about declaring, because not many people will declare themselves as alcoholic or addict.
Yeah.
Because people will start laughing at them, or they'll lose trust. Because alcoholic, addict, no one trusts them.
Yeah.
But I discussed with my family and my wife and my children. And they were very supportive. And they said it is okay, as long as it's okay with you, and as long as you can pass on the message to the suffering addicts, alcoholics, and especially to the families. That as long as the suffering families find relief and find answers to the problems they're facing. And see, the addict, the alcoholic, he's suffering. But at the same time, the families,
Of course.
they suffer so much.
Very much.
And they don't want to show to others also. But the thing is, see, I'm from a well-to-do family, an educated family, but I came into recovery in 95. But that time, we in Naka societies, we didn't know about recovery, about the disease of addiction. And it was through this enemy, actually.
Okay. Nagamaras Association.
Nagamaras Association. And then I was through Auntie Netuno, I will mention. She was the one who helped me find my way. Okay. And I'm very thankful to her.
Okay, so before you get into that story, the term recovering alcoholic. So once you become an alcoholic, you are forever an alcoholic, but a recovering.
Yeah,
So
recovering.
there's no
because-
sense of I've been healed, I've been recovered, now I'm not an alcoholic anymore.
No,
there's
no,
no
no.
sense. How do you want?
Because see,
Yeah.
because my addiction
Pull
is
the mic a bit.
my
Yeah.
addiction is permanent,
Okay.
and somehow because of my extensive use of the substance, my body chemistry is changed. And when I say this is a disease, addiction is a disease of our mental, physical, and spiritual. Spiritual means relationship.
True.
So I have an allergic reaction to substance or alcohol. And the moment I taste alcohol, the allergic reaction starts. And that allergic reaction is not that normal reaction that you scratch and all this thing, but internally, the urge will come. And it is very difficult for us to suppress the urge, the craving.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that craving will be there till I die. So only on the day I die that I'm recovered.
Oh, I see.
So I'm still in the process of recovery.
Okay.
And as the day goes on, I try to improve myself. I try to improve my relationship with the people and with God. So every day it's trying my best to improve my inner self. So it's an ongoing process.
Right. So, but it's been almost 30 years you have been sober.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you walk around in the city, in the town, do you get you say the cravings will always be there if you can't suppress if you're not careful. So the cravings will always be there.
Yeah, it is there.
Wow.
Initially it was very strong. But as the time passes and the duration passes, it's not so strong. But it just out of the blue it comes. Even if I see people drinking and using and all this thing, the urge is not there. But sometimes when I'm sitting alone or just that it comes. But I know that to recover, you have to know that you are alcoholic or you're addict.
Yeah.
And I am a sick person.
True.
And I know that once I taste, I'll not be able to control.
True. Wow. I think only people with strong will can really stay sober and come out of this.
Will is also there, but God does miracles. And it is through God's will.
Okay.
And by His grace and His love and mercy for me that I'm sober today. And I would also state that my working with the church also, it's also giving me support.
Absolutely. So we have understood a little bit of the terms and definitions of what a recovering alcoholic is.
Yeah.
And it really opens up our minds, for people who have not experienced and who don't know about this subject. Now, let's start with your story. Like you are about 63 years of age, right? So that means you were born in
61.
61. So as a young man in the 1970s, 80s, I mean, how was it? What made you fall into the habit of drinking alcohol those days? How was it look? How did it look like?
Actually, I passed my metric in 78.
Okay.
So I think I was around 16, 17 then. And those days, 70s, there was not much issues on alcoholism or addiction. Okay. Then suddenly I got the freedom. And I went to Shillong.
After metric.
Yeah, after metric. I thought it was a big, matured person.
Okay.
Only now when I see the children passing metric, I see that what was going on in my mind that time. But I thought I was very big.
Okay. You know everything.
Yeah, I knew everything. And then I went to Shillong. And it was the Shillong, quite a lot of students became good. I was sidetracked.
Okay.
And I tasted alcohol. Then I also tried marijuana, some pills also. But actually, it's a choice. So my choice of substance was alcohol. Okay. I liked the feeling of that high of alcohol. So I stuck with it. But that time I was not, I used to drink on and off.
Okay.
But actually, I had that addictive tendency. And once that it's imprinted, it's a very vast, very long subject.
Yeah.
It'll take quite a long time, but
I know.
in the short layman's thing, it is a brain disease. So once I got the taste of the high, I could not forget. It was imprinted in my brain. So that how, then slowly, but it took me quite a long time to become a full-blown alcoholic.
Yep.
I think 78, 79, I started drinking. But alcoholic, I think I became alcoholic around 86, 7, like that. It took me about quite a long time.
So now you went to Shillong and everything started in Shillong.
Yeah.
And Shillong is a wet state, though, even those days, I guess.
Yes.
So that's how it happened. Now, when you realize, as you moved on drinking every day and abusing alcohol, when did you realize that now, I've been addicted to this and I can't live without this
Yes,
anymore?
that is a very good question. There is a very thin line between social drinking and
Addiction.
You don't know when you have crossed into that line. You don't realize. Only when you are really deep into it, then you realize that you are. But for an alcoholic, to admit that you're an alcoholic, it takes, till we die, we deny.
I can see that,
So
yes.
to get the cure, to get to come into sobriety, the person has to admit that he's alcoholic and he needs help.
True.
Even the addict also.
All sorts of addiction.
All sorts of addiction. The person has to admit. And the second thing is, our Naga society is such that we are so, of course, it's a social stigma.
Yeah.
People laugh at, he's an addict, he's an alcoholic, their children is like that. So people hide. Even the parents or the wives, they try to hide that the son or the husband is an alcoholic or addict. And they deny. And they put the blame on the friend.
Yes.
So I think to find the solution, the parents or the wives, they have to admit that
They need help.
they need help and they have a problem. Because, see, it was my wife who approached the enemy.
Okay.
It was not me. And somehow she found the ways and means, and when she admitted that she was having problems and she went to NMA, only then I could go to rehab.
Okay. That is also maybe probably unwillingly.
Unwillingly.
Yeah.
I was compelled to go. So force is also required. But the thing is, quite a lot of parents, they try to hide the fact that they have a problem in the family. And through my experience, every third, or fourth family has got the addiction problem in Nagaland.
Acha. Wow.
Through my sharing and all these things. And I feel that the church and the state has to really work on the war footing if some changes have to come.
Okay. So it's a big stigma that I also will personally agree with this. It's a stigma. And the interesting point that you raised is someone who drinks will never admit that they're alcoholic.
No.
And they will always think that it's still under my control.
Yes.
But in fact, it gets out of control
beyond.
already. Because when I worked, I was doing a short internship with Kripa Foundation in Mumbai.
Okay.
Like for a few months. And I could understand that they all started with social drinkers. So how would, and when you look at it, at least 70 to 80% of the Nagas will claim as a social drinker, although they're not alcoholic or addict as such yet. But how would you like to tell them that, when would be the time you should realize that, you are getting out of control?
Okay.
Yeah.
Number one is when your family members complain. That's the first indication that you're drinking too much.
Okay.
Second thing is when usually morning drinking is one of the very strong indications.
As a ritual type.
Yeah, as a ritual type or because of hangover that. So people say that it's hangover. But actually now he's becoming dependent on alcohol or the drug.
That's nice.
Or again, people say that I drink only at night. quite a lot of people say that we drink only at night. But that is also one of sign of being dependent on alcohol. See, social drinking and dependency. My father, he died when he was 81.
Okay.
I saw him drink, but I've never seen him get drunk.
Okay.
And he never used to drink every night also. When he was tired, this thing, that thing, he used to take 1-2 packs, finish. But when you finish what you have opened, that is a sure sign that you have done. No need to tell anyone. Or if you try to hide your habit from your loved ones, that is also one of the indicators that you are now dependent.
Okay.
Because if you're doing something good, what's the point of hiding the fact that you're drinking? So those things are, very strong signs that you're become dependent. Or when you have to lie.
I think it really makes sense.
Yeah, so those things are very, very strong indicative that you're becoming dependent or on the way.
On the way to that.
But surely you'll land up there if that starts.
If the pattern continues.
Yeah, if the pattern continues.
You're reaching that.
Yes, that is 100%.
Wow. So now the stigma thing. Social drinker, no one has much stigma on, no one attached them with a stigma, like they are drinkers or whatever. It's a social drinker, okay, just to have fun, just to have a conversation sometimes. So the stigma for people who have become so dependent on alcohol, on liquor, to sustain to begin their day, just like someone who is addicted to coffee, they can't begin their day without coffee,
correct,
example. When you replace coffee with alcohol, it's some sort of an addiction that is affecting your health, affecting your mind, relationship with everyone.
Okay.
So the stigma becomes very bad in our society. Being alcoholic, being drug addict means it's everything. The credibility of that person has gone down the drain forever. Forever. So can you share me an example those days or even up to nowadays? What kind of the worst stigma and its impact the alcoholics and addicts are facing in our society?
Those days, the worst thing that we alcoholics and addicts faced were the church. They looked at us as we were worse than devils. I have a friend. Now he's into recovery also, and he has come into recovery for a very long time, but he had distanced himself from the church.
Okay.
He's a Christian. So, and he wanted to get married. He had a girlfriend. They were going into a relationship for quite some time. The girl insisted that they should marry in the church. But he said he is not going to step into the church.
Wow.
Because when he needed the church most, they never came to help him. That was the extent of
protest,
prejudice.
Okay.
So I don't fault the church also. Because those days the situation was completely different.
Awareness was
zero.
At worst,
And no one knew about the aspects of the disease. Even now, I will say about 20 to 30% of Nagas have come to realize that this is a disease.
It's a disease.
Yeah. But almost all people say that he's drinking too much, he's a drug addict.
It's a morality issue.
Yes, and he has no willpower, he's useless in society. So those trends and those things, and then no one would depend on you or believe, because of course, no one could depend on us. So there are instances of alcoholics or addicts, their loved ones in the hospital.
Yeah.
And giving them money to buy medicine. With good intention, they are going to buy medicine, but on the way, he gets the urge to drink or to use. Without buying the medicine, he'll use the money for the substance. There are so many instances.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the regrets that the recovering people have.
Okay.
But to recover, actually, the psychological aspects, plus the spiritual feeding has to be done.
So the church did not understand the concept of this disease, addiction, alcoholism.
No, no.
Even many churches are still blind.
Still
to
blind,
it.
yes.
And whenever we see drunk people, alcoholics, it's just like they're working against us. They're the evil forces. So, but actually, there's a little bit of my understanding of the biblical concept.
Yeah.
Prostitute, Jesus was very forthcoming towards the prostitute to help her.
Yeah.
Our church, when you look at it, it's a lack of awareness and lack of understanding of the actual teachings of Christ. That's a
Correct.
small reflection that I'm doing. And now you are realizing all this, the negligence of our society. We don't blame the church why you're not doing this. But since the church was not aware, now the church is gaining consciousness of
Correct.
the issue and the problem.
Yes.
And now for that, you are also starting a recovery program and working with the church. Can you tell me, how did your work with the church in a recovery program start? How was the experience like when you started sharing that you need to work? Did they oppose or did they, were they receptive?
Actually, I'm very grateful to this Mokchung Town Baptist Church.
Okay.
It was, for the church to accept addiction or alcoholism, it was very difficult. So, and then since 95, I was motivating and giving counseling to suffering addicts and alcoholics, motivating them to go to rehabs, to treatment centers and all those things. And I found out that in the year, I could meet only about 3 or 4 people. So thinking, I believe that it was God who spoke to me. I'm not saying that I'll go to heaven, but I have that faith. And I suddenly realized that for this to work, I have to work with the church. And the church has to be convinced.
Right.
So my friend Abu, he was working in Kripa.
Okay.
So I told him that, see Abu, I'm trying to convince the church to start this recovery program.
Okay.
So if at all they agree, you kindly help me out. He agreed. Then since 2007-8, I started talking with the deacon board or deacon woman department and some pastors, some full-time workers. And because I was also quite famous in my addiction. I was well known. So they also saw my change in my lifestyle and my recovery. So they were also wondering how I have become sober. Then slowly I was talking. In 2010, it was Reverend Punan. That time he was a senior. He's a senior pastor. And he called me to the church. So I called Abu and my friend Neto. 3 of us, we went to Mokchung. That time I was in Koima. And we went to the church and all the full-time workers were there. Deacon board was there. The women department was there. So, and they asked me what I was talking about. So he said that you have been talking around with the women department, with the churches, with some full-time workers, youth department. You have even talked with us also, but collectively you have never talked with us. So I'm very grateful to the church that opportunity was given to us. And I believe that it was God working.
They took cognizance of your
Yes. So we explained our recovery program, the 12-step recovery program, which is actually Bible-based.
Alcoholics Anonymous, right?
Yes, and then the recovery, the 12-step principles. So we explained to them, and then they said that, okay, we'll study, we'll think it over and get back to you. So we walked out and half believing that nothing will happen. But suddenly I got a call to meet them. That was in 2011.
Okay.
And they told me that we don't know, it was very good. We don't know anything about this. So you tell us whatever is required, we'll provide. So I said that, okay, we'll come with our resource people, this thing like that. We'll require this kinds of medicine. And it was really very good that Dr. Ngule and Dr. Joyce was in our team. So all the medicines were provided by the church, fooding, everything. And then I told them that you have to bring your congregation, your church members who are alcoholics. So even that time, Reverend Wati, he was also very active in this.
Dr. Wati Iyer?
No, another Tams Wati is there.
Achha.
So then they collected 18 really hardcore alcoholics
I see.
from the All Baptist Church.
From the members.
From the members.
Okay.
And they were brought to CTC. We also went. 7 of us, we went that time. They said, how many people you want to bring? You bring, this will be a pilot project. And they asked me, how long will I require?
Okay.
So I said, I think it will require at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because the withdrawal, we have to deal with the health problems, withdrawal symptoms, they'll get sick, all these things. That time, whatever we talk, so it'll just not be registered.
Yeah.
But they said that we'll only be able to give only 7 days. At one point of time, I wanted to refuse because I thought 7 days will not be enough. It will be just a waste of time. But again, something spoke to me. And said that this will be the only chance that we can penetrate the church from this recovery program. So I said, okay, fine. With full faith in God. That God can do miracle. Then 1 week we went, about 7 of us, with Dr. Ngule and Dr. Joyce. And surprisingly, 18 people turned up and 18 people came into recovery.
Wow.
And they, without us prompting them, they committed that they will maintain sobriety. So that was the first time that, and the church was encouraged by that. So we started the AA in Moktung. That was 2011. Then after that, our Kaba here, they also heard about it and they approached me.
Kohima All Baptist Church.
Baptist Church.
Okay.
So again, here also we started. So slowly this movement has been gaining momentum.
Okay.
Mokchung do 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think till around 14, 15, I used to go and help out. But they have appointed one full-time worker.
Achha.
He's a counselor and he's doing very good job. Now I don't go to their programs. And in fact, this counselor is giving detox camps. We call it detox camp, but it's a men's camp.
Yeah.
So during the day, we give them teaching on the disease concepts and on the recovery program. And we give them one-to-one counseling. Morning, evening, church, compulsory, they give spiritual feeding.
Wow.
And if I'm involved, I insist that one session, I sit with the family members to give them family counseling.
Important.
Yeah, it's very, so that if they don't know the son or the husband, how to deal with him, when he goes back, they also have to change something, the attitude.
The attitude, their language.
Language also. Yeah. If not, then they go and then second day they quarrel and then he's back to... Because anger is one of the main poison for addiction.
True.
So now Kohima has started, then slowly... So I think nearly, I don't know about other tribes, but at our church, nearly about 40 churches are having this program.
And they run on their own?
Yeah, they run on their own.
Wow.
And about 30 churches I'm involved with, like Dimapur, Tipupar Church, Patambugri, Unity, and all these things. And slowly now we are expanding the activities. So Kohima Church, we had the sensitization for the youth. It was a very good session, very good opportunity. So, see, to convey our message of the disease and the dangers, it is the recovering people who go and share their life story. Then the youth, they understand.
I agree. Yeah.
And even the the addicts and alcoholics, we need the church. But somehow, when the church people go and talk with the addicts and alcoholics, the automatic wall comes up. They don't accept. But when a recovering
makes
person
sense.
goes and talks with him,
Because they can relate.
yeah, they can relate.
They can relate.
Yeah.
How a church pastor or whoever is not who is not aware of alcohol, what kind of language would he use?
Yes, and the alcoholic addict, they're very perceptive.
Which,
So when a person goes with the tune of pity, we don't like pity.
true.
We want understanding. So when you understand and he can realize that you understand his problems, then he will respond to you.
Makes sense.
That is the difference of counseling.
Yeah, yeah.
So with understanding, with empathy, you have to approach that person. And now Kohima Church, we have a sensitization program for the youth and all that we have started. And I've gone to some schools. That is out of their own, not from the department, but individual schools, they sometimes call me. So I take some of my friends. We give them sensitization, awareness, share programs. And I found that class 8, 9 children, they're already in the substance. That's how far it has gone.
Okay.
And this, since we are really male-dominated society, we forget about a woman.
True. That's my next question now.
Yeah.
When it comes to alcoholism, addiction, most of us directly think it's a man's issue.
Yes, correct.
But now I want you to lay out the scenario of the status of women's alcoholics. Are there women alcoholics?
Yes, women alcoholics, addicts, there quite a lot. And the worst part is they drink more, their health is affected more because they don't go out and drink. They drink at home. Okay. And that is how the children are affected.
Right. Mental, psychological.
Yes. And they in turn, because 99% children of alcoholics addicts, they'll become alcoholic addicts.
I see.
See, normal people think that, tayo laka baba mutu kaya na murishe, tawa kaya na murishe. How can he
pick it up? Pick that
he
same
should have
problem.
learned this lesson, but that is not the case. His emotional, psychological has been affected.
Okay.
So that is one of the things. Now, Kohima Church, we have the church. We have started our women's special camp now.
Okay.
So last year we had one camp for the women.
For addicts and alcoholics.
Yes.
Wow.
This year also we had one. So now it is slowly picking up, and we are trying to train up this recovering women so that we men cannot properly relate to women. It's very difficult.
True,
and they also cannot relate to us.
Right,
In general aspects only we can do. So we are trying to make them the instrument of the church to...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so see, there's an organization here, Life Connect Ministry. They're also doing very good work in the Nagabaza area.
I see.
So I'm also associated with them. I sometimes go for the program.
I think, that's the best, one of a great way of using church fund. Not for any other things like building more and more, construction of more and more buildings, buying of unnecessary vehicles. I think church should redirect their funds and finance in this kind of serving people and once once they get off alcoholism, they started. Most of them will start seeking God more fervently than before.
Yes, of course.
That's so.
One thing, some few incidents, since I'm experienced in this,
please.
It takes quite long. I hope you won't mind.
It's okay.
But in one program, after the men's special camp, the Sunday, we attend the devotional church in that particular, and then we are asked to speak if no one is forced, but if those recovering people, they want to share, they're given the opportunity.
Okay.
So one person, he has asked time to share, so he was given by the church. And he was a junior engineer, he was an engineer. And during his sharing, he said that this is the second time coming to church in his life.
Wow.
And he has never given, since he has not come to church, he has never given offering. And in his life, he has never given tithes. And he said, this is the first time I'm giving my tithes. Until I die, I will regularly give my tithes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's how the changes. I mean, when you mentioned that coming back to church, searching, reconnecting with God, this is one of the ministries.
Absolutely. It's a core heart, should be a Christian
and I
hardcore
think
ministry.
This is a ministry that all the churches. I don't know about the other tribes because I'm talking about our church since I'm from our background.
Yeah.
But I was asked to help out in this Angkami Baptist Church. They had a program.
Okay.
After that, I don't know how they went.
Okay.
And then with the Chakisang Church also. And I was called to Fake also. So I went. And I travel on my own. As long as the church, wherever churches want me, I go.
Okay.
I'm very happy to. Because I feel that I have to give back to society. And I feel that it is my duty to society.
Absolutely.
Not obligation.
I think like you said, God helped you find a way out before it became too late. And it looks like God was coming to you.
Yeah,
like,
correct.
I'm coming for you. You have no option but to just come close to me and get a, because I have some work to do with you.
See, one thing I would like to, out of the topic, but about God.
Yeah.
I'm a cancer patient. I'm a cancer survivor. And 2019, I was detected with esophagus cancer.
I see.
Then chemo, radiation. Then 2020, surgery was done. And I don't have a stomach. But I'm surviving. I'm eating. Everything is okay. But after the operation, complications started. Then they told my family that my PP is dropping and there is no response. Means I'm dead. They put me on ventilator and I went into coma.
I see. Where was that?
It was in BLK Delhi.
Achha, and when? Which year?
2020.
Oh, it's just the last few years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, like you are saying, God has a purpose for me. That's how. So, but see, I came out of my coma and my ventilator was removed and I could breathe myself.
Wow.
I came back from that death. Not many people come out from coma and ventilator.
Yeah, but what did the doctor explain to that, phenomenon?
They didn't explain also, but I think I took about 14 units of blood. I mean, the whole blood, and then plasma, platelet, everything was given.
Okay.
It was a miracle that I am alive. And I think it is God. That is why again I rededicate myself that I will work on the recovery program with addicts and alcoholics.
In working with them, do you have peace of mind and do you enjoy what you're doing?
It is frustrating,
Okay.
but when they recover, and when I meet the families, or the parents, or the wives, or the children, that pleasure,
Yeah.
you cannot explain, you cannot express. And the bright face, and when they come and talk to me, that is reward enough for me.
I see. You can imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, and sometimes it is also quite depressing also. You try, and suddenly he's no more.
I can imagine.
So it is very heart-wrenching also. Sometimes the doubt comes, did I do enough? Or I should have done that. So many things comes to my mind, but it is difficult. Second thing is, see, I also passed through that phase.
Yeah.
I knew that I was a con case. I tried to give up. I was hospitalized so many times. And at one certain point of time, that it is better for me to die. That thought came. Because I could see I was hurting my family, my parents. I think we are 9 of us. I was the only child who made my mother cry.
I see.
So,
And you said you're the youngest.
yeah. So at one point of time, the contemplating of suicide also came.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So now this, when I deal with addicts and alcoholics, and I think that overdose,
Okay.
it's not accidental. It is intentional.
Wow.
Because when he finds that he is hopeless and helpless and there's no way out, I have come across quite a lot of suicide cases.
Oh, one way of
OD.
committing suicide. Then.
Yeah, OD or hanging. And what I've observed was one phrase. I have heard so many people, and I don't think even God will forgive me.
Yeah.
That is one of the most dangerous phrases I've heard. Next step is suicide. So that is so. When that thing, I have to be very careful. I try to inform the friends, families, not directly but indirectly, to be with him, to encourage him, even if. So
That's very
all those
powerful.
things. So
I think the first thing we need to do for them or with them is showing our love.
yes, and church has to do that.
Church has to lead that.
Yes, correct.
And
It's
as an
very important.
individual,
Yeah,
we all
and
have
then
to.
I think that the church. I mean, the ministry of church, the message of God is love.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Jesus
Yeah.
did. I mean,
As you
throughout
were
his
saying,
life.
that prostitute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and churches is doing wonderful ministry. It's very good that they have accepted this.
Now you mentioned about the church. Imagine my rough calculation about there could be 2,000 churches in Nagaland.
Yes.
Every village has got one or two
Yeah,
churches. Then imagine if every church may not be in a large scale, but small scale, start giving attention to this kind of problems.
Yeah.
Helping. I mean, imagine 2,000 churches and each church 5 persons each, for example.
Yes.
On average.
It'll be a miracle. I mean, God will work. Once the church works, God will work. It's a saying that God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah, of course.
And as you are saying, the villagers and all, government how far can they penetrate? But church penetrates the whole our Naga society.
Absolutely.
So if the church can, but the problem is financial problem.
It requires a lot of finance. Yeah.
So if the government and the church, instead of discussing on
NLTP.
NLTP, all those things, why not divert to the recovery program? They sit together, government finance the churches, the programs. Every Naga trusts the church.
Yeah.
And
least-
the church, in times of our troubles, sorrows, they come and give us solace.
They do. They do.
So we depend so much on the church. So when the church comes forth in this addiction, there will be positive results.
I have no doubt about it.
Not sounding my own horn or praising myself, but there was a church, and they wanted to have this program.
I see.
They were having financial problem, and my friend told me this like that, and so I said, "Are they ready to have this bring forth their addicts?" They said yes, but it takes money to buy medicine, fooding, all those things, and they have no money. So I went around a donation drive among the well-wishers, recovering people. I managed to collect 1 lakh. So with that, we conducted that detox camp. So that way, so many churches want to do, but they don't have the money, resources. Second thing is medical side, that withdrawal treatment. So there are a very wonderful group of doctors who are willing to come and give their service
Okay. Without any charges.
without any charges. And nurses are also there. Doctors will come to get their health, prescribe medicine, but the injection, this thing, that thing, nurses are required. Especially the 3 days, 4 days is very crucial. So the nurses, we request them and they come and stay there 24/7
Whoa.
at night. And then these withdrawal symptoms, it is very painful. And some people who have not seen, they get shocked.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the physical pain, the mental pain, the hallucinations.
The way they react.
Yeah. And once you take away their substance, it is very difficult.
I can imagine.
Yeah. That is why, see, some parents, I have I've come across, they say that, why don't you drink instead of taking drugs? Alcohol is better. That far, the situation in some families are there. And there are some families that the mother or the wife, instead of letting the husband and the son go out. So if he goes out, means he's going to use and create problem. So he's kept in the house. The wife or the mother or the child or someone, they'll go and purchase and bring and give him. So there are so many cases like that in our Naka society, and it is all hidden.
Yeah. Many are suffering
Yeah.
silently.
It is. We have a group of friends who are working on this.
So you mentioned about the lack of funding, finance. I mean, any church may not necessarily do this program on their own, but whichever church is doing, or whichever organization, they can always give funds.
Yeah,
that's another way of looking at it. Maybe 2,000 or maybe 10,000 or 15,000, whatever amount they can.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of like setting aside for many materialistic things, it'll be very nice.
Actually, I have worked out a rough figure.
Okay.
Now we have extended to 10 days stay program
in the camp.
Yeah, in the camp. Medicine, fooding, and all these things, and we have to, since their health issues are there.
Yeah.
We have to provide them good food also.
Yeah.
So all these things together, it works to about for 7 to 10 days per client, we say, not the patient or the addict. We refer to them as client. It takes about 18,000 per person. 18, yes.
Wow.
Medicine, all these things. So roughly it works out quite
it's a very expensive affair, kind of, Now you mentioned about the church and the state, the optimal way of looking at helping people is work instead of fighting against each other.
Yes.
It should be a collaboration instead, and help
correct.
people of the state. So we have discussed about NLTP Act of 1989 even yesterday, whether to be lifted or not lifted. Now I don't want you to be politically correct, but I want you to also tell me, in a way from your experience. Because you said people got into alcoholism and addiction or, all this abuse, not because it's freely available, not because it's mostly in Shillong, maybe in your case, it was freely available. Secondly, there was no awareness.
Yeah, correct.
No knowledge about what can be the impact. So as a person who has gone through the fire, of alcoholism and, and addiction, what would you suggest in this dilemma of whether to be lifted or not to be lifted?
Actually, see, lifting and not lifting, I am with the recovering person. Issue is we have to look from different perspectives.
Comprehensively.
Yeah. See, the heroin.
Yeah.
It originated from the border and it came through Manipur. Manipur also had the alcoholism problem.
Of course.
And some people brought heroin into the society. And at that point of time, it was called wonder medicine.
Wonder medicine.
Because the child, the alcoholic, wild and creating problem.
Yeah.
And see, alcohol makes you lose your inhibitions. You become very active initially.
Okay.
And substance, it brings you down. So there's a joke that when you hire laborers, when you have to do very hard work, you hire alcoholics.
Oh, okay.
But when you have to do fine, steady work, you hire drug addicts.
Okay.
So these mothers, they used to give heroin to the children.
Okay.
To the alcoholics.
Okay. Yeah.
So he becomes so docile. No problems, no issue. So it went on.
Easy to control.
Easy to control. He was quiet, not going out, not creating any problem.
Acha.
So it was called wonder medicine. But slowly it was actually a heroin. So it came to inside our thing.
Okay.
And like as I was saying that at that point of time, alcohol was so expensive, but heroin was cheap.
Yeah.
Per piece it was 50 rupees.
Okay.
Alcohol,
Before this NLTPA Act.
yeah.
Okay. It was
after the NLTP Act also.
okay.
There was drug issues, drug problems before the act also. But when I'm a very inquisitive, curious person, so I used to discuss with the drug addicts also. So I used to ask them why they shifted to drugs. The answer was, at that point of time, the alcohol was not available. It was very expensive. So they had to opt for substitute or other substance to get high. And it was cheaper. Then as the disease progressed, money problems started. So pushing started with needle use.
I see.
Then because of that sharing of needle, HIV
Okay. So
goes
this
up in
is
our society.
wow. That's how it's all connected. Huh?
Yes.
Wow.
Now though it is sexually transmitted, but those time the initial thing was because of needle sharing.
I see.
So now
There was no awareness of.
no awareness, and even HIV social stigma. No one is coming forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lifting of NLTP Act, yes. So we have to study in a very from different angles. But there are so many different opinions and views that once it's lifted, there'll be rampant alcoholism. But the thing is now in this present scenario, at least if it is regularized, some checks and balances, teenagers will not be able to avail alcohol. And bootleggers also,
They will reduce.
there's no point in selling because the wine will be cheap.
Yeah. The good ones are available openly. Yeah.
openly.
Okay.
And now, see, 13, 14-year children, they just go to a pawn shop and they buy beer, they buy rum, they buy whiskey. It is so easily available. And spurious liquor. And
Imagine.
one doctor was mentioning about the health problems. Previously, alcoholic, yes, there was death. But alcoholic death was because of liver cirrhosis. But now we have so many cases of pancreatics, and then the gastric perforation, kidney problem. All these are related to spurious liquor.
Wow.
So that is one of the aspects. So I think the church and the government has to sit, discuss pros and cons. And even the police also, our DGP Rupin Sharma is trying his best.
I see.
But police personnel, they are humans.
Yeah.
So, by nature, we humans are very weak. So it's very difficult to control the thing. So
Right.
lifting, not lifting, it depends on them. But personally, I would rather have good quality.
Okay. Controlled and well regulated.
Regulated, good quality alcohol.
Okay. But those who are going to drink will drink.
There are those who are, because see, for a addict, he'll do anything to get the substance. So many stories are there, some funny, some serious, and all these things. But our Mokchung area, that drug belt, there's a story of a group of addicts harvesting one field at night and selling off the grain.
Is this a true story?
True story.
Oh my gosh.
They shared. And it's a true story. And they've sold off the grain before the
Owner woke up.
Wow. So they will do anything. So lifting or not lifting, it will not affect the
the abuse.
addiction abuse scene.
Okay.
The only thing that we can do, I mean, the church and the government can do is to increase the preventive awareness, sensitization in all the schools, churches, and because see, government, they have got so much resources. So the medical department, they can come forward.
HIV/AIDS.
Plus
Society.
their services,
True.
social welfare department also can come forward.
Okay.
And this department can come forward
Okay.
and have a concrete program. Financial problems, it will be solved. Second thing is, I am not saying that it should be lifted or not lifted, but if it is lifted, the resources. I'm not talking about generating a revenue for the state. But if the resources can be utilized to prevent our younger generation from falling into this type of addiction.
Awareness and recovery.
Awareness, sensitization, prevention programs. It will be very good. No school has got a set counselor or a certain period or a subject where this is taught.
Yeah.
And I think it is high time that the government formulate this program. It is because those 90s, one complete generation has disappeared. And one thing I'd like to mention is, for an alcoholic to become fully dependent, it takes few years.
I see.
Heroin, it will take you about 6-7 months. Because dependent means you have the withdrawal symptoms, the cravings, and it's very painful. And people, normally they don't come out of this addiction is because of the pain. To relieve, they get the relief from pain, they use. The cycle is there. Now, we come to the brown sugar. Brown sugar is some chemicals added to heroin.
Okay.
So brown sugar, it will take about a month. Now you have heard of sunflower.
Yeah.
Sunflower, a person will get hooked within 4 to 5 days.
Whoa.
Very fast. And so many drugs are coming. The trance is one is there.
Yeah.
And we Nagas are so fast in learning. I think in no time it will reach Nagaland. I fear that.
Why not? Why not? Why not? There are many things.
And the second thing is, see, some villages, they expel the addict drug users for 40, 50 years. Where will they go? Or they find the person, 40, 50,000. In fact, the parents or the family, they're suffering. Where will they have to beg, they have to borrow to give that fine. There's not a solution. And the thing is this peddling, it is like the downline. The peddlers, the kingpins, I am the peddler, you are addict. You're a school-going person. You are buying from me. Slowly you have become addicted. You are buying from me, but I'll give you a free sample. You'll give to your friends. Let them taste. And slowly that friend will get hooked.
Yeah.
So he's your downline. So you have got about 5-6 downline. They're buying from you. So you're earning. So without earning, you're using. That trend is very much there. That's how it is spreading like wildfire.
Wow. Okay. And no one is aware of.
No one is aware of it.
And no one is checking it.
No one is checking it because it's so difficult to check.
I know.
In the bathroom,
Yeah.
they just need a small foil and a lighter or a match.
Yeah. Even parents cannot check. I mean, how will government check this?
Yeah. That is out of question.
Wow, that's a.
So alcohol is, it can be very difficult to carry, so it can be checked. Smell is there.
Smell is there. And your behavior changes.
Behavior changes. But substance, you become so quiet.
Yeah.
You become so obedient.
And you can sleep whole day also,
Yeah,
right?
sleep whole day, nothing, no distraction. So that's how.
Okay, wow.
checks, balances, and the government, the church has to judge. But the most important thing is they have to formulate certain concrete programs for the prevention.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. I think it's very insightful. I mean, it's a very, a lot of new learnings for me as well. And I think people like me, even I'm not myself not totally aware of what you were saying, But imagine that the common populace, how much we will know, how much they will know.
Yeah.
Because I've at least worked with Kripa as a student, for a few months.
Okay.
Still, I'm not able to understand fully. I mean, until you explain all of that, and you explain from your field, from experience in our context. And I'll just as a concluding question, as someone who has hit the rock bottom as an, alcoholic in those days, in the 90s, what would be your message and advice to those people who are, considering themselves as a social drinker and, would drink very regularly, let's say, and want to hide, as you say?
Like this, it is like playing with fire.
Wow.
Advise them that you're playing with fire. If you play with fire, you burn yourself.
Very true.
So you have to be very careful. You have to be aware of your moods, because it is the mood which is controlling the thing. So if you are drinking or relief drinking, that's also very dangerous. If you are drinking daily, it's very dangerous. And I think that it is just playing with fire. And I think there is no point in drinking.
At all.
At all. It does not give us any benefit. I have drank so much. It did not give me any benefit. So, of course, I don't condemn social drinking in the parties. Okay, you can have. But in the party, if you get drunk, that is also one of the indications that you are
going there.
Going there. Going to the ship.
Okay. Wow.
So it is very dangerous. It's very, very addictive. Because it is a brain disease. Addiction is a brain disease. And you are wholly controlled by your brain.
Yeah. Addiction is a brain disease.
Yeah, so better not play with fire. That is my safest, my only advice.
Because it's almost impossible to get out of it.
It is almost impossible. Second thing is, I got out of it because of the family support. And especially, I think my mother, my wife, my family members prayed to God. God is very important in recovery. Without God, nothing can be done. That's why I insist that the church should be the main player in our recovery program for our society. Church has to be the medicine for the sick person. That is what I would like to emphasize. And as long as any church wants my service, I'm most welcome, willing to go and help out.
Wow, thanks for that. And I'm sure from our episode, many people will come to know.
I hope
I think,
so.
Some churches will watch, and I'm sure, let them contact you. So
through they can contact me.
They can reach out, people can reach out to Mr. Sangam, and it will be very helpful, especially for our brothers and sisters who are struggling with this problem. So I thank you once again for coming all the way from Mokjung, and it was a very insightful conversation.
Thank you so much for having me in your show. Because my desire was to pass on this message to the public.
Very much. Makes sense.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and I believe that God will bless you.
Thank you for that.
For having given the opportunity to pass on the message to our Naka people.
And thanks for service to our people.
Yeah.
That's quite important. Yeah. And may God use you even greater.
Thank you.
Thank you.